Welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. In this video, I will show you how to make the Cozy Up Knit Throw by Michelle Wilcox. This is a free pattern available at redheart.com. I've put a link to the pattern and the full list of materials in the video description box right down there below. And while you're down there, please smash that like button, as my kids say. This knit throw uses 3 different colors and 1 ball each of the brand new yarn Sweet Home by Red Heart Yarns. This yarn is fun and fluffy and comes in many different colors for you to pick and choose from. All you need to do is select 3 of your favorite colors, grab yourself a set of size 13 circular needles, and we can jump in with this really great project. To make this throw, you only need to know 5 basic things: how to cast on, how to do the knit stitch, how to change colors, how to bind off your stitches, and then how to weave in your ends. Let's go ahead and learn the cast on. You will treat the circular needles just as you do straight needles. Even though they are joined down here with the cord, we will treat each one as if they're individual needles. Go ahead and grab your yarn, and we begin with the slip knot. Place the tail of the yarn in the palm of your hand. Take your working yarn, wrap it around your forefinger and your middle finger. When you come back up, cross over. Rotate your hand, go underneath that front loop, grab the back loop, and take them off your fingers. Grab your needle, and we will place that slip knot directly onto one needle. You will go into this stitch that you just placed on your left-hand needle from left to right, going underneath. Take your working yarn, wrap it around the right-hand needle. Can you see that? I'm going to do that one more time. Working yarn, wrap it around the right-hand needle. Now the goal is to take this working yarn and pull it through the yarn that's on our needle. So I will hold my right-hand needle and hold my working yarn at the same time, and then maneuver the right-hand needle through that stitch and pull that loop through. I extend this loop ever so slightly. I'll take my left-hand needle, swivel, and put that stitch on my left-hand needle. Let me show you again. I'm going to go into the new stitch I just created. So from left to right, I go into that stitch, yarn over my right-hand needle, bring that yarn over and the needle out of the stitch I went into, extend, swivel my left-hand needle, and come underneath to put that stitch on. Go into the new stitch, yarn over, come out, extend, swivel, and scoop. In, around, out, extend, swivel, and scoop. In, around, out, extend, swivel, and scoop. In, around, out, extend, swivel, and scoop. Okay, we are placing new stitches onto this needle, and as we start creating more and more stitches, these will move, and they will rest on this circular needle, allowing you to have a larger number of stitches on your needle without them having to be super squished up. Go ahead and cast on a total of 86 stitches. I have cast on 86 stitches using the Spruce colorway, and you can see here what I'm talking about. As the stitches are cast on, they naturally just wrap themselves around the circular needle, but I still have 2 needles here, okay? So this is how I was casting on my stitches, okay? So I had all my stitches just like so. Now what I need to do is knit all of these stitches I just cast on. And this is what we will do for the entire pattern. To knit these stitches, we are going to do the exact same motion we did when we were casting on by going into the first stitch from left to right, take our yarn, wrap it around our needle, and then pop that needle out. This time, instead of extending and swivel and scooping to put that stitch on, we don't want to do that because this stitch we just pulled through is now an actual stitch. So what I'm going to do is the stitch I left on my left-hand needle, I'm going to let that jump off. Okay, you ready? I'm going to go in, around, out, and I'm going to let this stitch I went into on my left hand needle jump off. In, around, out, off. In, around, out, off. In, around, out, off. As you're working these stitches, you will gradually push these stitches up to the tip of the needle so that you can easily get to them. In, around, out, off. In. As you come up to the end of your blanket row, you will notice that all of the stitches you've just knit are now resting on the needle and the cord that is joining the two needles. Now, I just finished with all of this yarn over here in my right hand, and my left hand is empty, right? My needle is empty. And when we knit, we want our yarn, my left hand needle. This is what I'm going to do. You ready? I'm simply going to switch my needles into the opposite hand. You see that? So now the spare needle with no stitches on it is back in my right hand. The needle with all the stitches is in my left hand, and I'm ready to start knitting. Okay, so we have learned 2 of the 5 things I mentioned at the start you need to know in order to make this blanket. The next one up is how to change colors. At this point in the pattern, we have done 2 rows with color A, and it's time to change to our color B. So what I want you to do is go ahead and snip your color A off, leaving at least 4 to 6 inches. Okay, see, I have a nice long tail right there. Once you've cut color A, grab your color B and let's join it into our work. With your color B, all you're going to do is go into that first stitch just like you're going to knit, grab your color B, and this time wrap the right hand needle with your color B. Okay, I'm going to wrap it, pull that stitch through, and have it jump off. Now, as I go to knit the next one, I can simply just keep on knitting with my color B. Ta-da! Super, super simple. And that's all it takes to change colors when you're knitting. Now you can carry on knitting this row with color B. Then you will follow along with the pattern using color B for the number of rows as indicated. When it's time to change colors, you will cut your color B, join up your color C or whatever color is next in your sequence, and carry on the same way. Now you know 3 of the 5 things you need to know. The next thing is how to bind off, and that's how you will finish the entire blanket. When you're at the end of the blanket, you need to finish off these stitches so that they don't unravel. To bind off, you will go in and knit the first 2 stitches. So there's 1 and 2. Now what you need to do is take your left hand needle, go into that first stitch you knit. Okay, so that first stitch, we are going to help it leapfrog up and over that stitch. So I'm going to bring it up and over that front stitch and then off. Take my needle out. So I have that first stitch that was on there, that front stitch still on my right hand needle, but that one I just leapfrogged over or with is now, it's like it's around the throat of the stitch on my needle. I will knit 1 more stitch. Now I'm going to have the back stitch jump up and over the front stitch. So I'm going to grab it, help it to jump up and over that front stitch and off. Knit 1 more stitch, back stitch, jump up and over that front stitch and off. And this one really shows you how the front stitch is still on my needle and the stitch that jumped up and over is like it's strangling, or it's a scarf around the stitch on my right hand needle. And you would knit the next stitch, because you always want to get to where there's 2 stitches on your right hand needle, have the back one jump up and over the front one. You do this all the way down the row. When you're left with 1 stitch left on your right hand needle, you would go ahead, cut your yarn, leaving at least 4 to 6 inches, remember, and then you just pull that loop through and it locks it in place, okay? And this would be a very tiny blanket, but this is how you would finish your blanket. All of those stitches are bound off. This was our cast on edge. And now the last thing to do is number 5, how to weave in your ends. Because we're changing colors every so often, we're going to have quite a few ends to weave in. And we have these nice garter stitch ridges coupled with the fluffiness of this yarn. It's going to make it really easy for us to weave in our ends without them showing. We're going to use a bent tip tapestry needle. And what you're going to do is thread your yarn into that bent tip tapestry needle. Okay, it just squish it around the needle and it goes pretty nice. Then working along this ridge, what I like to do, I simply just like to weave in and out along the ridge. And I'll do all of this on one side of the blanket. See how I just wove in and out of that? You really can't tell. The only reason you can tell right here is because it's a different color. But even with all the different colors mixed in, you really can't tell. Then I like to go ahead and work my way back, going underneath the stitch that I just kind of wove in, okay? So it's still showing that orange bit, but I'm coming back through. All right, it just allows it to really kind of get stuck in there. Now, because this yarn is nice and fluffy and it will hide a lot of things, I'm allowed to actually put a knot in my knitting, which is like sacrilege if you know me at all. But go ahead and place a knot in your actual knitting. And because of the structure of the stitch, that will help everything stay in place, and your knot isn't going to show. It's going to just blend itself in with all of the fuzz. And that allows you to go ahead and snip your tail nice and snug, and it's not going to come undone. I typically never put knots in my knitting because we're not supposed to. But when you're using a big fluffy yarn like this, a little knot is really not going to show up, and it's going to just blend itself really nicely into the work. And there you have it. You know all 5 things you need to know to make this really great throw blanket. It uses 1 ball of each color of Red Heart's Sweet Home yarn. This is a really fun yarn. It's a size 6 yarn, making it a very fast project and great for beginners. I'm Marley Bird, proud national spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns, and please check out other videos I have here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel for beginners and experienced knitters and crocheters alike. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, thanks for joining me today on the channel. If you want more videos just like that one, check out some of these other videos that I've already handpicked for you. And don't forget to hit subscribe so that way you're up to date whenever I release a new video. And don't forget, smash that like button, as my kids say. Bye guys.